Welcome. It is Monday, April 22nd, 2024. On Comical Opinions, we're talking about new information related to the Absolute Power event from DC Comics, which is their big tentpole event this summer. But before we dig into it, you might be asking, well, our comic reviews are generally focused on small, medium, and independent type publishers. Why are we covering Marvel? Why are we covering DC? Because when Marvel and DC do well at the comic shops, that brings people in the door, and they're more likely to buy comics from other publishers that are smaller or maybe don't have as much uh, presence within the greater industry. Rising tide lifts all ships. So today we're talking about Absolute Power. We have new information, call it breaking information if you want, but we have more details about what's happening in the course of the event itself, particularly with spin-offs and tie-ins. Now, if you want to know about the overall Absolute Power event, we did a video on that a few weeks back. I'll put a link to it down in the description. Now, we already know from the main Absolute Power event that it's basically going to be the good Trinity versus the evil Trinity, which is Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman versus Failsafe, Brainiac Queen, and Amanda Waller. I'm not sure that's exactly the equal matchup anybody intended, but there we are. But now we have some details about the spin-offs and the miniseries that are happening within the course of the main event, and most of this is going to be centered right in the July timeframe. We have the free comic book day special edition that comes out on May 4th, which is only a few weeks from now. And it's a one-shot that primes the event with an original story by Mark Waid and Michael Janine. Mark Waid is the main writer on the overall, or on the main Absolute Power title that's going to be coming out in July, and it's a preview of the first issue. Then we have Absolute Power Ground Zero, which is a one-shot that's coming out in June, which is just before the July timeframe. It reveals how Amanda Waller, combined with Failsafe, Brainiac Queen, and her Suicide Squad, unlocks the key to capturing all metahuman powers. The writers are Mark Waid, Nicole Maines, who is the main Dreamer writer, Josh Williamson, who's doing a lot of work right now on Green Arrow and Superman, and Chip Zdarsky, who is the main Batman writer right now. Then we have the main miniseries, which starts on July 3rd, which is right before the holiday, okay, which is written by Mark Waid and Dan Mora, which is the big creative power couple for DC Comics right now, particularly with their World's Finest title. Combined powers of Failsafe and the Brainiac Queen allow Amanda Waller to neutralize superheroes and villains alike. As chaos erupts and public opinion sways, resistance led by Batman forms to fight back. Now, we know from this week's, or just a few days ago, actually, that the Amanda Waller has tapped Tio Morrow to create some kind of new type of a meso. So what we hadn't heard previously, but now I think is confirmed at this point, is that a meso, or at least a meso's mimicking capabilities, play a big part on how the evil Trinity takes everybody's powers away. Let's see. So we have Absolute Power Task Force 7, which is a 3-issue miniseries written by Leah Williams with art by Caitlin Yarsky. Leah Williams, okay, well, that's fine. That's Leah Williams. All right, fine. It explores how the Trinity of Evil co-opt Amazo robots and failsafe technology to eliminate all metahumans. So that confirms that Amazo is sort of like the plot device that gets the power stealing shenanigans going. Introduces the Last Sun, an Amazo robot targeting Superman and Shazam. Depth Charge, an Amazo robot that steals Aquaman powers and forcing Mira and the Aqua family to rebel. And then we have Jadestone, which absorbs the powers of the JSA, but Green Lantern's willpower throws a wrench in the plans. All right. Then we have Absolute Power Origins. That is also a 3-issue mini written by John Ridley. Okay. With art by Aletha Martinez, who we know most recently did a lot of work, I believe, on Nubia. This miniseries delves into Amanda Waller's backstory, reveals a catastrophic loss. So basically, this is an attempt to humanize Amanda Waller and give her some motivation and character depth that fuels her vengeance against metahumans driven by the vow of never again. Okay, then we have some tie-ins. We have Batman 150, which is a milestone issue. Landmark issue features not only the regular story by Chip Zdarsky, but also a tie-in that's related to the Absolute Power event. With art by Mike Hawthorne, so that's a good one. For a story featuring Batman and Catwoman planning a daring heist to target Amanda Waller. Then we have a tie-in issue at Wonder Woman 11, which is written by Tom King. Wonder Woman's quest for truth is interrupted by an Amazo robot designed to steal her powers, which is, that's about on par or on course. And then Superman number 16, written by Josh Williamson with art by Jamal Campbell. He's back on the title. That's good. It features a weakened Superman. Injured by the Amazo attack, Superman retreats to the Fortress of Solitude. He must embark on a dangerous mission with Zatanna into the realm of magic. So basically, you have a little bit of everything tying in, from Green Lantern to Batman to Wonder Woman to Superman to the JSA gets involved. You also have a little bit of Shazam. So you're basically running the gamut of the entire Justice League. So all those tie-ins and one-shots and miniseries and everything that's going on there, that basically takes us through the end of July, maybe even a little bit into August, depending on how far it goes. Uh, but that brings us to the end of Absolute Power. And then the question becomes, what happens after that? Now, we know DC has some news potentially coming out at SDCC, which is at the end of the summer, and even more information coming out at New York Comic Con, which is typically in the beginning of October. We have heard rumblings, and if you believe Bleeding Cool, which we typically do not, for very good reasons, that there is some DC alternate Ultimate Universe event headed up by Scott Snyder. There does appear to be some truth that something is happening with Scott Snyder, that he is creating an Ultimates form of the DC Universe, which will be in a separate and distinct universe in the multiverse or timeline or what have you, but the details are very sketchy. What we do know for certain is that Tom Taylor is off Nightwing starting in September. Ram V is off DC Detective Comics starting in December. We do know that there are rumors that Tom King is done with Wonder Woman in September. There are rumors, although we don't know for sure, that Cy Spurrier is off The Flash starting in September. So what we do know at the very least is that there are a number of creative team shakeups starting in September. Who will replace them? We don't know. Where are those creators moving over to whatever Scott Snyder is doing? We don't know. Does Absolute Power constitute a full DC reboot? At present, the answer is no. That doesn't mean it won't change or that we're just lacking information. But we do know that as of right now, we have some creative team shakeups, but the titles will just continue after Absolute Power with new creators. That doesn't mean that there's a reboot or a hard reset or anything other than that. And from all accounts that we know so far, which is just rumor at this point, Scott Snyder's DC Ultimates, or whatever they wind up calling it, I believe they're looking at the name Absolute or something, including the Absolute name, is a separate universe or a separate timeline and separate and distinct from the main ongoing titles. That's all we know at this point, but more information should be coming out at the end of the summer. Personally, I'm a little bit mixed on this event. I have faith in Mark Waid and Dan Moore to create a great story, and I'm sure that's going to be entertaining. A lot of these issues that are in the one-offs and the tie-ins and the miniseries look okay. I'm at least encouraged by the fact that a lot of these tie-ins and miniseries look like they're tied to the main event. Unlike, say, Night Terrors that happened last year, where you had a bunch of tie-ins that had almost nothing to do with the main event, which was just kind of bizarre. This at least looks like the tie-ins and the miniseries are trying to enhance and expand what's going on in the main story. So that's encouraging. On the downside, you have a lot of the same writers who have shown repeatedly that they're not doing a great job on their titles. Leah Williams is not doing well on Power Girl. Chip Zdarsky is making a mess out of Batman, and some other creators in here that are just either mid tier or maybe just not encouraging. Nicole Maines, I don't know why Nicole Maines is in here, but okay. So there's some good, there's some bad. Is this going to be a full reboot, which is probably something that DC needs at the moment? Probably not. And let me take that back. I don't know that DC needs a full reboot. They just need a fresh they need a fresh direction, or at this point they just need a direction, because right now they're rudderless. They're just sort of spinning in different directions and not doing much of anything of importance. I think they need a strategy. They need strong leadership that's going to enact that strategy, and they need a creative team or a series of creative teams, depending on the number of titles, that can enact that strategy at a high standard. Right now they don't have any of those three things. So a big event is not going to fix that, especially when most of the creators that you have associated with the big event are, for lack of a better term, part of the problem. Dan Moore is good. Mark Waid is good. I have faith in that duo. Everybody else outside of that is hit or miss on a good day. So we'll see how it turns out. But let us know what you think. Are you hyped? Are you excited for Absolute Power? Are you excited for the outcome of Absolute Power, whatever that winds up being? Because we really don't know for sure at this point. Let us know in the comment section, and we're going to take a break at this moment just to move over to the main newsletter to talk about our pick of the week and the reviews for this coming week. All right, switching back to the main newsletter. If you haven't heard already, our pick of the week from last week is Love Me, a Romance Story, #1 from Mad Cave Studios. Surprise, I bet you thought it was going to be Cobra Commander #4, which was really good. Really enjoyed that issue a lot. Lots of twists and surprises in action. But Love Me, a Romance Story from #1 from Mad Cave Studios got our top pick. Why? Because it had so much heart. It was so surprising. I was shocked. I thought it was just going to be like a weird little cyber future, cyberpunk kind of weird love story. And it was, but at the same time, it was just so incredibly steeped in heart and emotion. And you just feel for this robot cab driver who is so optimistic and willing to look on the sunny side of life. And then when he finds the girl of his dreams, he goes up and then down, and you're just on a roller coaster. And it's just amazing. Really a great bit of work there. Now, I understand Stefano Cardoselli's art is not everybody's cup of tea. It's very stylized, and I get it. But go in it for the story, let it take you, and I think you're going to be very surprised. Now, if you're a subscriber to our Substack newsletter, you already got the word on this. This was our pick of the week because that news went out on Saturday. If you're not a subscriber, please go to comicalopinions.com/subscribe and you can sign up. It's completely free, and we would love to have you along. Now, let's move on. That's the pick of the week. The link to all the reviews from last week are in the newsletter. Again, if you subscribe, it's all right there. So you can read each one of them. I don't think there was any really bad ones. Well, Vampirella 668 maybe was not our favorite comic ever, but the rest were pretty darn good. So let's talk about what's coming up this week. We have some new titles coming up. One I'm particularly excited for, so we'll see how that goes. We have Corn Mother, a one-shot indie submission that was supposed to be done last week, but we got into a scheduling conflict, so we'll pick it up for next week. Also, indie submissions, we have The Ghost System #1 and Days of the Republic Volume 2. Coming up from Zenescope, we have Pooh versus Bambi. Zenescope is throwing their hat into the public domain ring with Pooh Bear or Winnie the Pooh, and so they're giving us a comic that seems like definitely not Disney type of entertainment. And then you have Grim Fairy Tales Volume 2, #83. From Black Box Comics, we have Biomex #1. From Dynamite, we have Vampirella Dracula Rage #6 and Red Sonja Volume 7, #10. And then here's Mad Cave Studios with Charred Remains #5, and our big, hype factor for the week is Dick Tracy #1. Yes, they acquired the syndication, or not syndication, the publishing rights for Dick Tracy. This is the first issue. And I believe, if I understand correctly, it's sort of a prequel or early days of Dick Tracy type of issue. So I'm very much looking forward to that. We have Conan the Barbarian #10, which has consistently been a banger from Jim Zub and Titan Comics. Rebel Moon House of the Blood Axe #3, also from Titan Comics. That is a prequel spin-off miniseries based on the Rebel Moon movies from Zack Snyder. And if I remember correctly, Rebel Moon Part 2 just came out this past Friday. So we're probably going to take a look at that and provide our thoughts somewhere. From Titan Comics, we also have Adam, the Beginning Volume 2, which is a prequel series to Astro Boy, which we've enjoyed quite a lot. That's from their manga imprint. Then we have Dirt Witch, a one-shot from Blood Moon Comics. Humbaba #3, also from Blood Moon Comics. And those are Humbaba, we know, has been an interesting series. Dirt Witch, I'm looking forward to. And then we have Snaps #1 from Scout, which was submitted to us independently through the creator because Scout's going through some kind of weird upheaval right now that we don't know for sure, but we'll find out hopefully sooner rather than later. And so that's it. That's our newsletter for the week. Please, if you stuck through this video for this long, thank you so very much. If you're not a subscriber to the YouTube channel, please hit like, share, comment, subscribe. We'd love to have you as a follower and provide more content for you. If you're not a subscriber to the newsletter, please go to comicalopinions.com/subscribe. It's free, and you get all this content sent to your email. And if you have any thoughts about anything we discussed, particularly about the main video regarding Absolute Power, please leave a comment down below and let's interact. I want to hear your opinions, and maybe we can get into a little bit of a discussion. I want to know how excited you are for Absolute Power, because I'm sensing a lack of enthusiasm, and I'd like to see what it would take to kind of get that up there, because that's a point of interest that every publisher can learn from. So thank you very much. I'm Gabriel Hernandez, your publisher in EIC for Comical Opinions. You have a great day.